Good evening and welcome to the Montebello City Council meeting of August 9th, 2023. I am calling this meeting to order at 6:03 p.m. Mr. City Clerk, can you please call roll?
Mayor Pro Tem Peralta,
Present.
Councilmember Jimenez,
Here.
Councilmember Melendez,
Here.
Councilmember Tamayo,
Here.
Mayor Torres.
Here. Mr. City Clerk, do we have any speakers for closed session items?
We do not.
Thank you. Mr. City Attorney, if you can please announce closed session items.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council. Because there are no public comment cards on closed session items, we can go right into closed session. We have two items for closed session, one conference with legal counsel existing litigation, the concerned residents versus City of Montebello matter, and then secondly, the conference with labor negotiators, the MFMA and the MFA matters. Be appropriate to recess into closed session.
Thank you, Mr. City Attorney. We are recessed at 6:04 p.m.
Melendez. Zoe, thank you.
Can you guys hear us? People at home, thank you for joining us. It's a pleasure. Zoe says hi. Zoe, test 1, 2, test 1, 2.
I would like to call this meeting back to order. Mr. City Attorney, if you can please give a closed session report.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council. The record should reflect that the City Council, with all 5 members being present, recessed into closed session to discuss the 2 items that were listed on the agenda and announced prior to recessing into closed session. The following is my report. On item number 1, conference with legal counsel, existing litigation, the concerned residents versus City of Montebello matter. A briefing was provided to the City Council. Direction was provided to the City Attorney's Office, but there was no final action taken and nothing further required to be reported. Item number 2, conference with the labor negotiators. Again, the City Council received a briefing on that matter. There was no action taken, and there is nothing further to be reported. Mr. Mayor, that concludes my report from closed session. It's appropriate to continue with the open portion of the meeting at this time.
Thank you, Mr. City Attorney. We'll move on to the invocation and pledge of allegiance. This evening, Mr. Matanga, our city treasurer, will lead us in the invocation, and we have some special guests with us this evening, both our sister city ambassadors from Ashia, Japan, and our host ambassadors who are showing them California, Montebello, American culture, and what Montebello is all about. So, Mr. Matanga, if you would lead us in the invocation, and if our host ambassadors, Ms. Catalina Alba Murillo and Natalia Mora Avila, would please come up to the lectern following Mr. Matanga. Please stand.
O Lord, we are meeting here today to conduct matters of business. Guide our hearts and our minds in spirit of fairness, bright through thought and speech. Impart your supreme wisdom upon our activities so that our affairs may reach a successful conclusion. Thank you for being our source of guidance today. Amen.
And if our host ambassadors will please come up to the microphone.
Please put your right hand over your heart. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. Ms. Salazar, do we have any corrections to the agenda?
Good evening, Mayor. At this time, I'd like to announce that this evening, Treasurer Matanga will be presenting the quarterly report. So the item number 5 will be pulled for his presentation.
Okay, thank you very much. Moving on to ceremonial items and presentations. This month, I would like to proclaim National Wellness Month on behalf of the Montebello City Council. This month, the city is proud to recognize August as National Wellness Month and encourages healthy lifestyle routines. While it may seem like a simple concept, self-care is easy to ignore, especially when caught up in the stresses of everyday life. As we navigate the pandemic and readjust to the changes, now more than ever, we encourage everyone to choose wellness and make small changes to impact one's health in a positive way, physically, mentally, and emotionally. National Wellness Month focuses on self-care, managing stress, and promoting healthy routines that can take place in many forms. Some simple ways to take charge of your health and make National Wellness Month a priority include 30 minutes of exercise, disconnecting from social media, and spending time outdoors. Maybe take a stroll through Taylor Ranch Park or visit Montebello Barnyard Zoo at Grant Ray to pet the animals and reduce stress. To learn more about National Wellness Month and what you can do, please visit our website at montebelloca.gov. And at this time, I would like to invite the Montebello Ashia Sister City Association for a presentation.
Hello, everyone. My name is Emma Delgado. I'm the president of the Montebello Ashia Sister City Association. And we're celebrating 59 years this year of exchanging student ambassadors with Ashia Japan. Um, Eileen Kirshner started the association, signed the agreement on May 24th in 1961. Her and George Driscoll signed the agreement. So we have 63 years we're celebrating, and I know a lot of you probably know the entryway here is Elaine Kirshner, and that is who started the program, and that's 63 years ago. And again, we're exchanging students for, this year is our 59th year. So we're really proud of that. We've been down for 3 years because of the pandemic, but we're back stronger than ever. And we have our Ashia student ambassadors here, as well as our Montebello host ambassadors who have a hard job, and they're showing them all around Montebello, LA, and they also went up to Santa Barbara? Solvang. They went up to Solvang. So they've been all over. So I'm going to go ahead, without further ado, I'm going to bring the first host Montebello ambassador, and that's Natalia Mora Avila.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Natalia Mora Avila. I am a senior at Share High School, and I am so excited to be a part of the Montebello Ashia Sister Association. And it has been an honor to be able to show the Ashia student ambassadors around Montebello. Thank you.
Our second host ambassador is Catalina Alba Murillo.
Hello, everyone. My name is Catalina Alba Murillo. I have the honor of being this year's 2023 host ambassador. These past 2 weeks, I've had the pleasure of getting to know Ida and Takumi and showing them around our beautiful city of Montebello, and not only learning about themselves, but learning about their beautiful city of Ashia and learning their beautiful cultures. I'm so honored to have got this position. Thank you.
So what we do is we send 2 Montebello ambassadors to Ashia, and then Ashia sends 2 ambassadors here for 3 weeks. Our Montebello students arrive back home tomorrow. They were in Ashia for 3 weeks, and they're arriving back tomorrow, so we're really excited about them coming back home. So our Ashia student ambassadors, our first one is Ida Hanashima.
Hi, my name is Ira Hanashima. I'm from Ashia, Japan, and I'm 16 years old. And I'm really looking forward to coming to Montebello City. And I'm having so much fun in these 2 weeks. And I have the purpose of this project, and it is that I want to learn many cultures in America, and I want to tell the culture in Japan. And in these 2 weeks, I learned some differences of culture between Japan and America, such as how people treat to people who has tattoo, and I want to learn more differences of culture between Japan and America in the rest of 1 week. And also, I want to enjoy the stay in Montebello City. Thank you.
Our next Ashia student ambassador is Takumi Subota.
Hello, my name is Takumi Tsubota. I came from Japan. I am 16 years old. I'm in the first grade of high school. Now, I was selected as a student ambassador. I have 2 goals. First, to enjoy myself. That's very important. Second, I want to learn about a lot of culture and other things through communication. Finally, I already love Montebello and Disneyland. I went to Disneyland for the first time in America. That was very good. Thank you.
I just also want to thank all of the city council for having us here and for supporting us. I especially want to thank Mayor David Torres and Mayor Pro Tem Scarlett Peralta. They've just been really helpful in getting us a city tour, getting us presented at the street fair, which they loved. That was amazing. So I thank everyone, also the city attorney for donating a table. We appreciate that. And again, all of the council for supporting us. Again, we're back after 3 years, so the support means a lot to us, and we really appreciate it. And I know a lot of you probably have seen our flyer. Our Sayonara event is this Saturday, and that's where we bid farewell to our SHIA student ambassadors. So that's where we highlight them, and we'll show photos of their 3 weeks here. So I hope everyone can join. There's some flyers outside, if anybody could join. And if you know a student between the ages of 16 and 18, please have them apply. Our application should be out in January next year. If we can get a bigger pool of applicants, that would truly help our association and get more kids to know about our association and have a wonderful opportunity to travel to Asia, Japan. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Delgado. And again, just one more time, welcome to the Montebello Shia Sister City Association. Thank you for joining us this evening. And an even bigger thank you for opening your homes and opening your hearts to volunteerism in our city and helping our youth think globally and experience other cultures and understand what it means to be a global citizen. The lessons that you learn, whether you're traveling out to Japan or receiving our friends from across the Pacific here at home, are experiences that last a lifetime. And I can't thank our host ambassadors enough for taking on that task. I understand that you guys were out at Disneyland until 1 o'clock in the morning and still ready for the next day, bright and early, to do tours here at City Hall. So the task that you do is a lot of fun, but it's also a lot of work, right? And to our ambassadors that are joining us, thank you for carrying on this tradition that is lasting almost 60 years. We all here are part of a very proud history of extending that hand of friendship across the ocean and just making sure to support each other and to really exchange ideas and cultures so that when we go back home, we can all lift our communities up and all be better together. So Ms. Delgado, thank you very much. Again, to you and all the volunteers. I also want to extend an invitation to anyone that's watching online, on TV, or maybe watching this recording later. The Montebello Shia Sister City Association is one of a couple that we have in the city and one of many volunteer groups and volunteer opportunities that we have. They're always looking for more bodies and more minds and more participants because it really is about enriching our community. You don't have to be Japanese to appreciate Japanese culture. As a Montebello resident, this is our heritage, this is our history, and this is something that we embrace and enjoy. I also want to thank my colleagues for in the most recent budget round of budget allocations, allocating money for our sister city associations, making sure that the city of Montebello participates in that olive branch and encouraging collaboration with our international partners. Thank you. I also want to give a quick opportunity. Mayor Pro Tem Peralta is the council's representative to the Montebello Shia Sister City Association. She's been working with them closely over the last several months. So if you wanted to say a few words as well.
Yeah, absolutely. First off, just welcome to our beautiful city, and thank you so much for our host ambassadors being residents, being students within our city, and taking on this responsibility of showing our beautiful city and Los Angeles to these incredible students is, I think, a memorable opportunity that you will always take with you throughout your life. I do just want to recognize our president of the association, Emma Delgado, as well as the incredible team of residents and parents that have led this effort this past year. It's not easy to try to create a schedule of 3 weeks worth of activities, find families to host these students in, ensuring that they're well taken care of, that they're well fed, and that they feel comfortable and really have a space where they feel welcomed. And so I think that really just showcases the beauty of our community, the beauty of the residents that live here who are all working together to create such a memorable and such a just outstanding program here in the city of Montebello. definitely looking forward to this continuing on and the support to ensure that this is something that every year we have students coming from Ashia, Japan, and we also send students. I do just want to also highlight that this event that is going to be taking place on Saturday is their biggest fundraising event. Keep in mind that the students that we send to Ashia, Japan do not pay for the cost of their flights or the logistics. That's actually fundraised through these incredible partners that we have here, that they want to make sure that these kids are very well taken care of. And so this is an opportunity to join the luncheon that they will be hosting and another way to support them. And so there is flyers in the back. Again, welcome. We welcome everyone to please join us and continue supporting the amazing work that they're doing. Thank you.
This is a letter from Mayor of Ashia. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. So now, if our ambassadors would like to come up for a group photo with the City Council, and volunteers, welcome to come up as well. One more round of applause, please, for our ambassadors. Moving on to the next portion of our agenda, public comments on non-agenda items. Mr. City Clerk, do we have any public comments?
Yes, we do have public comments.
Please proceed.
Yes, this is the time for public comments and non-agenda items. Anyone who wishes to address the city council would be required to fill out a card prior to this point in time. Anyone who wishes to speak would have to do that. With that, then we'll start with the city clerk going through the public comment cards.
First speaker is Francisco Gallegos Jr., followed by Christine Kimmy.
Hey, good evening, council members and everyone here in attendance. My name is Francisco Gallegos Jr. I am a city employee from Montebello. I work for the department as a bus operator. I have been employed with the city for 3 years now, and I am thankful for the work opportunity the city has given me. I love my job. Thanks to this job and the Lord above, I was able to get off of welfare and support my family financially. I am here this evening due to a current policy the city has on COVID mandates regarding which is test once a week and continue to wear a face mask. I understand that being granted a religious belief exemption, I was expected and agreed to. 3 years now since I've been complying, and yet after the White House has declared the pandemic over, I ask, why must I continue to test weekly and wear a mask? I'd like to go back to normal just like my fellow coworkers and put COVID behind me, just like everyone else's. I'm just asking if you can please lift the mandate. Please give me a chance to go back to normal. I just want a fair and equal employment opportunity as my fellow coworkers have. Thank you for your time. If I may, I made a letter for each and one of you guys, if I can turn this in. Thanks. Thank you.
Next speaker is Christine Kimmy, followed by Fiona Ramers.
Okay. Good evening, council members and mayor. My name is Christine Kamurian, so I wrote it in cursive, so some of the letters got blurred out. But yes, my name is Christine Kamurian, and I'm here representing Delta Plan Systems. We are a biotechnology lab located in Canoga Park. Our vendor number with LA County is 212392. Our lab work is centered around water conservation and eliminating irrigation and fertilizer runoff. We are currently working with Parks and Recreations Department with the City of Glendale and Redwood City up north. In those cities combined, Delta has installed in over 30,000 square feet of grass and several trees, including sequoias. With our technology, we were able to reduce irrigation by 50% while maintaining the grass green mass and eliminating all associated irrigation and fertilizer runoff in those locations. Delta Plan is a hydrogel soil additive that is diluted in water and topically sprayed. It is a one-time application that remains active in the soil for 5 years and does not need reapplication. We are also 100% non-toxic, biodegradable. There's a lot of science and information behind our work, and we would like the opportunity to be connected with your city's Parks and Recs department so that we can schedule an in-person or Zoom meeting and see how we can collaborate together and make our public space greener and conserve water, which is essential in California's current climate. I would also like to talk to someone about the Genocide Memorial area that has the grass. I believe that is separately maintained by an organization, maybe not with the city. I did go to the memorial site and I saw how beautifully it was maintained, and I would like to talk to someone about that particular park. And at Delta, we choose to protect our environment with every step we take. Thank you for your time and consideration. Together, we can make a positive impact on our planet for generations to come. Thank you.
Next speaker is Fiona Ramers, followed by Antonio Herrera.
Good evening, Council. My name is Fiona Remus. I'm the Community Library Manager at Chet Hollifield Library. And I'm just here to remind you all how the library is still here for the community. We have a continuing Smarty Pants Storytime, which is geared to 2 to 5-year-olds and focuses on school readiness. We also have vaccine clinics at Chet Hollifield every month. And in October, we'll start doing the flu vaccine as well as COVID. We're always a place where kids can do homework. I know that school is going to start soon. And we have access to computers, laptops, Wi-Fi, everything. Also, I wanted to mention that we did recently win, LA County Library did win the National Medal for Museum and Library Services for 2023. So congratulations, Montebello. You have 2 award-winning libraries in your city. So thank you.
Next speaker is Antonio Herrera, followed by Barbara Reese.
Good evening. Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Madam Mayor Pro Tem, and members of the council. My name is Antonio Herrera. I'm president of Smart Local 1701, which represents the bus operators, mechanics and service workers, and storekeepers at Montebello Bus Lines. I'm here to bring attention to the ongoing labor dispute between the city and Montebello Bus Lines employees. On Thursday, July 6th, we held a second MOU ratification vote trying to settle the matter, but the members voted no, 95 to 4 yeses. The proposal was the same as far as raises and not making improvements to the health benefits. The members have said that 3.5% is not enough and the health insurance is way too expensive. The same week as the vote, CalPERS sent out an email stating that the cost of insurance was going to increase from 8 to 11% next year, depending on what insurance we have. Insurance that costs us $600 to $900 a month is set to increase. This has become a serious burden for us. When we have to pay $600 to $900 for health insurance, it's no longer considered a benefit. It's another cost that we stress about paying. The city is offering a 3.5% raise, and on our evaluations, another possible 2.5% to 5% raise. That does not even cover the increase of the insurance for next year. We feel a sense of disconnect from the city, but also we feel disrespected. To have employees that have been given 20 to 25 to even 30 years of service and place them towards the beginning of a pay scale where they still have to prove that they deserve a 2.5% yearly raise is unacceptable. We have been on the front lines being exposed to COVID and unstable people that have gone as far as to assault us. We have maintained Montebello bus lines running. We deserve better. At the moment, there are many visible labor disputes that have gone to the point of taking actions where within days their contract has expired. And here we are 1 year and 8 months later and still waiting on the city. If anyone has proven to be negotiating in good faith, it's been the union. But the patience of the members is running thin. And it is urgent that the city does the right thing for its employees. If you are pro-labor and pro-workers, provide a living wage and affordable health care, a basic necessity we deserve and will not rest until we get. Thank you.
Next speaker is Barbara Reese, followed by Mr. Emmanuel Michael Pineda.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council officials, and staff.
My name is Barbara Ruiz, a bus operator for City of Montebello. I have dedicated my service and sacrificed my life for over 10 years now. I am here once again to express myself and concerns regarding the incompetence and immoral recent MOU. To be honest, it doesn't surprise me to get such an offer as we did, a 3.5% raise that doesn't even cover our recent 30% health insurance increase is absurd. The planning of line expansion without the consideration of the continued lack of manpower, senselessly hiring bus operators for relief dispatch positions when it is clearly obvious there are a need out there on the line is redundant. If you haven't noticed, the city continues to lose exceptional drivers. One, for instance, that recently left, he gave 22 years of his life to the city of Montebello, worked 6 to 7 days a week, was always willing to help with extra work after his shift was over. Mr. Ernie Aragon, you will be missed. City of Commerce gained an amazing person and driver, along with all the other Montebello bus operators that were hired there. Also wanting to implement splits and/or allow authority to dispatch supervisors to change our run just to accommodate the whims of the company's mismanagement, falsely advertising the incentive program just to reel in applicants, when all along it's in jeopardy of a petty $1,000 buyout. I want to say thank you for the added security guards. However, I have yet to feel the security of their presence. In closing, I believe that compassion, dignity, justice, integrity, and excellence are the indispensable pillars that support the building of a compassionate workforce and just society. Thank you.
Next speaker is Mr. Manuel Michael Pineda, followed by Cecilia Lopez.
Present. Good evening. This issue matter hand goes back to 2016 from the Orange County Coroner's Office. Case number 16-00384-SG with facility license number F869. That's Rishner Mortuary. Orange County Coroner's Office was holding the authorization release forms to her remain since 2016. I have the permission, authority, consent to bring her over here and cremate her without my permission. Hopefully we could get, I brought it to the city of Santa Ana, the table, Garden Grove table, you know, what took place at the Garden Grove Hospital to the coroner's office, Santa Ana to Montebello. Still withholding documents. Who paid for everything? Still waiting for that. Got at Barbara, she threatened to call the cops on me. I want the receiving and the process paperwork. Still waiting. Hopefully we can get some action taken. Yeah, so this doesn't happen to anybody. But it's a serious issue. Where's her body? That's, you know, the residents have the, need to know what's going on in the city of Montebello. You know what I mean, with Rishner Mortuary. He asked me, well, you know, what I wanted, want accountability. You know what I mean? We're gonna see what Orange County does, you know. But, you know, since he brought her over here, I bring this to the table, you know, in good faith that we take action and hold people accountable. The autopsy report, she's not Hispanic, she's a white woman. We're not divorced. Death certificate has divorce, not true and correct. I get widow benefits. 3 death certificates have been written up since her passing. You guys got my information. Be looking for, I'll touch base with you guys, you know, shortly, let you guys do your homework, let you guys, so that never happens to nobody. I care less where they're from. You know what I mean? That this doesn't happen.
Next speaker is Cecilia Lopez, followed by Ana B. Jurado.
Good evening, Mayor, city officials, city staff. My name is Cecilia Lopez, Chairperson of Local 1701 Montebello Bus Lines. I come before you all seeking support to return to the negotiations table and reset. We understand our contract ended December 31st, 2021. The city stated that they will continue to recognize the expired contract as a current one until the new MOU contract gets ratified. The city and the union have been in labor negotiations going on almost 2 years. The meetings have not been consistent. We've had 10 negotiation sessions with 1 to almost 2 hours at a time. Only when the city agreed with the mediation did they willingly engage in a full day of negotiations. Adding or subtracting language after a tentative agreement is not negotiating in good faith. The union was left with no other alternative than to file a ULP, unfair labor practice, against the city. On July 6, 2023, Smart TD Local 1701 membership voted down the MOU contract 95-4. The city speaks about appreciation, how much they appreciate their employees. It may be true with other departments. However, when it comes to transit, we're treated like the unwanted stepchildren. These are our members. These are your employees. We're a part of the city of Montebello as well. Give us our worth, return to the negotiation table, negotiate in good faith, and value your employees. August 17, 2023, the city and the union supposed to meet. If negotiations continue without contract, the union is willing. I'm telling you, the city is willing, the union is willing to move to the next step, which is to strike. Thank you.
Next speaker is Ana B. Jurado, followed by Rosa Tamayo.
Good evening, Mayor Torres and Council. First and foremost, I'd like to acknowledge David Sanofsky for the wonderful job he did with our National Night Out with the Police and our downtown street fair. Thank you, David and staff. You are marvelous. You make Montebello special. Also, I'd also like to thank Ms. Scarlett for acknowledging our veterans on the Street Fest, and I appreciate that very much because our veterans are why we have what we have. Secondly, getting away from that, I'm very much interested. I research all the council. I research everything that I come up here with, okay? I don't go by hearsay. I'd like transparency from the council. I want to know what you got. I want to know, why did everybody jump on Angie that day when she was protecting the employee with the rules? Yet you have an attorney didn't say anything. You have another person here was a president of a local. I don't understand that. I want to know, what is your agenda? Be transparent. Not only that, be transparent to your followers, because maybe your followers don't even know. I researched all the directors. I research everybody. And in fact, one thing is that Mr. Torres, I researched you, but it says your bio's coming soon. I'm waiting for it because I'd like to read it. And Ms. Scarlett, I read yours where you were immigrant, you and your mom, you got educated, you did marvelous. But I have just one question for you. Did you become a United States citizen? You know, in retrospect to everything you've accomplished? I'm just wondering, I'm asking here so nobody can say anything. I want to know up front. I want transparency. Maybe your follower, your supporters don't, but I do. This is why I'm asking these questions. I would appreciate very much, I do research as much as I can. I appreciate the time. And please get some kind of feedback. And yes, I would like to know if you became a citizen because, you know, it's our armed forces. I mean, you were able to do a lot of us are, and we're thankful for that. But like I said, I want to know what's happening here. I want to know what the union's doing. I want to know why they're not protecting employees. What happened? I mean, Montebello's blue collar, you know, we're union people and we're veterans. We all need to know that. Yeah. So please, be transparent. Be transparent to your followers, your supporters. You know, if you're doing a good job, you're doing a good job because of your directors, because of your employees. You know, people come up here and talk about, oh, the finances and all that. You know, when I come up, it's because I talk to the director. I'd like to know if whoever comes up here and talks to finance and this and that, did you talk to the director of finance? Did you get the information from him? But, you know, I want to know that. I want to know that. Save me some time for my research, but I want to know that. Whenever you come up here and speak to the director, speak to the people that actually do it. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Next speaker is Rosa Tamayo, followed by Margot Iser.
Buenas noches, yo soy Rosa Tamayo.
Good evening,
Mayor
I'm Rosa
David
Tamayo,
Torres, miembros del concilio.
the mayor and the council members.
Quiero decirles que estoy muy orgullosa de nuestros empleados que tenemos
I want to let you know that I'm very proud of the employees that we have.
por el 29 de julio, que la fiesta que se llevó a cabo en Whittier Boulevard.
Regarding the fiesta that took place on July 29th on Whittier Boulevard.
David Sonosky, Chief Peláez, Chief Espinosa, todos ellos tienen muy buenos equipos. Estuvimos muy seguros y muy bien en esa fiesta.
David Espinosa and Chief Espinosa, they have very good crews, very good teams, and we were very safe at that fiesta.
La puedo llamar excelente.
I can call it excellent.
Yo sé que para una ciudad, para tener progreso, tenemos que tener muy buena transportación. Y la tenemos, pero ¿por qué no pagan bien a los empleados de transportación?
I know for something like that, we have very good, you need good transportation, and we have it. We have good transportation, but I want to know why the employees can't be paid well for the transportation.
Ms. Guillen, can you please pause the time? I apologize, Ms. Tamayo. I appreciate that there are some strong feelings and views in the room, but if the audience can please observe the decorum of the meeting and refrain from clapping or outbursts, that would be much appreciated, so we can move through tonight's agenda. Thank you.
Disculpo, yo sé que hay sentimientos fuertes. Por favor, no interrumpan la reunión.
I'm sorry, one more time. It looks like 3 minutes were cut off of her time. I believe it's at 4:12.
Pero no me roben mis minutos.
Just don't steal my minutes away.
Okay. Okay. Well, we'll ensure that you have your full speaking time.
Vamos a asegurarnos que tenga su tiempo completo.
Yo viajo mucho en el transporte. Yo dependo del transporte de la ciudad de Montebello.
I travel a lot on transportation. I rely a lot on the Montebello transportation.
Y yo siempre pregunto muchas cosas. Ustedes saben que yo soy muy preguntona.
I always ask a lot of things. You know that I'm very, ask a lot of questions.
Y a mí me gustaría que se les pagara bien porque es mucho trabajo. Pasan muchas cosas. Los choferes. Y yo pienso que ellos necesitan su buena aseguranza y su buen pago por su trabajo.
And I like for them to be paid well. A lot of things happened, and I like for them to be paid well for the good job.
También quiero hablar acerca de tener taqueros que vendan en la ciudad, porque yo sé que hay una SB 9772 de Lina González y Ricardo Lara, SB 946, para dejar a los taqueros vender, porque yo me he dado cuenta que les confiscan sus estufas y también les dan sus tickets por vender. ¿Por qué no les dan un permiso? No sean racistas con el taco. Es algo cultural de nosotros los mexicanos.
I would also speak on behalf of the taco people who sell tacos, taqueros. I know there's SB 72, Lina Gonzalez, and there's SB 946. They confiscate their stoves, they give them tickets. Let's not be racist against taco people.
La ciudad de Whittier tiene taqueros, la ciudad del Monte tiene taqueros, East LA tiene taqueros, ¿y por qué Montebello tiene la póliza? Pero estos biles dicen que pueden vender tacos.
City of
Los
cities,
taqueros.
cities
Traigan
such as Whittier, East LA, they have their taco vendors. But this bill says the taco vendors are allowed.
Traigan esos negocios a la ciudad. La gente de trabajo tiene que comer un taco.
Bring those businesses to the people who labor need to eat a taco. People work.
Y es muy digno comerse un taco y el respeto para los taqueros.
And it's very dignified to eat a taco and the respect for the taco vendors.
¿Quién no se ha comido un taco callejero?
Who has never eaten a taco on the street?
Muchas gracias.
Thank you very much.
Next speaker is Margot Iser, followed by Martha Cortez.
Good evening, everyone. Here I am again, asking you and telling you that we, the people, really need to be informed of so that we can be involved with every single decision. Now, I did send emails to each of your separate addresses and never got any responses. That's why I'm here in public asking you to, as all over the city, regardless of district, all of us have to be, as the people, involved in making every single decision about everything, about how money is spent, what's the use of the land. And this could be helped by having a clear communication way, by having it not be on Facebook or email or YouTube or whatever, Facebook or the other thing, but people don't always have it, but by maybe having a calendar of things sent out regularly by regular mail that tells of all the meetings of all the commissions, et cetera, et cetera. And also there's a way to do it by email, which is free, which is blind carbon copy of all the meetings coming up. And you put a PDF even, and that doesn't cost anything, but you can have hundreds of people on a list, and that's blind carbon copy. I told you about what carbon paper is. This is really important because it's our money and everything like that. And I just heard of that interesting way of doing the fertilizing of the parks, and I just wondered, Miss Angie Jimenez, what is RFP and why is it talking about remnant parcel for housing and mixed use when you have had sent into you petitions of various kind from us, the people, saying that we want the remnant of what's left of the golf course, which is not a country club and never has been, nor is it going to be a golf course anymore. But the remnant land, we want it to be designated as a public park and place for actual outdoor recreation, and that new kind of fertilizer will be very good for that because people will come from miles around to look at birds, to listen, to be outdoors in nature, which is attractive to a city rather than what's called affordable housing, which is not even appropriate for that area. There's many other areas in the city much better for that. And that also has to be completely monitored to make sure it isn't made to be unaffordable. So I am asking you to send out communications to us about everything, and I'd like an explanation from Ms. Jimenez about what is a RFP and things like that. So this is why we need to know what's going on here. You are supposedly representing us, and you have to involve us in every decision about everything. And that would make a lot of difference. You'd have a lot more support if you send out notices. And that's why I'm asking for this. And the main focus is right now the golf course, because if our city, I don't even want to get into it, we need that open space and park, and there's other areas that need to be preserved in better ways. So I'm trying to see if I've sent everything I wanted to say, but every transaction must be fully revealed. I don't think there should be any closed sessions anymore. Everything should be touched upon in public because it's our money and our areas and our lives. You know, the little details of what streets need paving and what stop signs, where,
Ms. Iser?
things like that. Okay, just say we need to have not oust identities doing it. We need to be involved. I hope you got that message, and if you need any more clarification, I'll be
Iser,
glad
thank
to
you.
formulate it. Okay, I'd like
Thank
an
you for your
explanation
comments,
from
Ms.
Ms.
Iser.
Jimenez.
Next speaker is Martha Cortez, followed by Delia Delgado.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council members, staff. I'm a bus operator with Montebello Bus Lines and Smart TD member. The MOU contract given to us for review was absurd, insulting, and degrading to all of us. There were no benefits in it for us. It mainly consisted of reductions and demands. Change needs to happen. The city of Montebello calls itself acting in good faith, yet the increase being offered is 3.5%. Our pay is 14% under the market, and with the proposed contract, we would still be way under the market value compared to other agencies. 10 steps must happen before we can get to the entire raise, and that will be based on our yearly evaluations. The contract shows a reduction of hours, what we would accumulate on our annual leave. And taking away our incentive program and refusing to give us retro pay, the agreement offers a $25 increase in the uniform allowance. However, a new program will be implemented within 6 months, but we are not told what. Operators have set runs, but Section O in the contract under manager rights is about having the control to assign and transfer employees, schedule working hours, and assign overtime. If we do not comply, the city can suspend, discipline, or discharge us. That's ridiculous. Inflation has increased, and we're suffering hardship and in jeopardy of the means to provide for our families. Everything has gone up except for our pay. You are not affected by this because your salaries are substantial. Bus operators haven't had a pay increase since 2019. We are constantly being ignored and pushed aside because the city does not value us. Your response time is unacceptable because sometimes there is no response. We expect a fair cost of living increase. We will not accept anything less. We are frontline workers and we fear for our lives every day. The city needs to be there for us. The public perception of the city is important. They used to value Montebello. They used to say we were reliable. They can't say that anymore. We're understaffed. We are government employees and essential workers. Do the decent thing. Take care of the people that work with you and for you. We do not accept this bad contract or agree with this demeaning offer. The money is there and we want our share. Managers have the position and the power to do the right thing, so do the right thing. I hope that the city of Montebello hears my words and that they do not ignore them. And also, I don't know, since I've been here, it's crazy how many people are on administrative leave. It's so sad. We need those drivers back. Thank you very much.
Next speaker is Delia Delgado.
To the members of the audience, again, I would like to respectfully request that we refrain from any outbursts this evening. Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, staff, and residents. There's a few things I want to bring up pressing. One of them is the vending. Ms. Tamayo brought up vending. We have street vendors everywhere. They're not licensed. None of them. We don't have a licensing program for street vendors. We need to reach out to HDL for assistance with that. The SB 946, I believe, the Senate bill, it gives plenty of guidelines of what vendors can and cannot do. It also gives it back to the city to make law for vendors. No cooking on the streets. That should not be. So we should not have restaurants set up on our sidewalks. We do. I see them. Yeah, everyone loves a good taco, but we have to be careful and we have to take care of our streets and our residents. Secondly, laying fruit everywhere or riding around, there have to be at a stationary place. And this is my expertise. I was business licensed for 22 years, so I'm fully aware of what our street vendors can and cannot do. I think we need to get together with code enforcement, PD, and HDL and figure this out because it's terrible, terrible. Another thing I wanted to bring up are the trucks that are driving in our residential areas. There was a slow for a while where they weren't, but now they're just back and forth, driving through residential streets like a regular car. And it's terrible. Where I live, I see them go by every 15 minutes. And believe me, if a police is sitting out there, they're gonna know. There's apps for that. There's apps for letting the drivers know that there's police in the area. So that's something that needs to be addressed. Too many large trucks driving in our residential streets. They're damaging the streets. Our street was paved not long ago. It's already sinking. There's already potholes. There's maintenance that's going to be required there. Another thing were speed bumps were put on the 100 block of Vail. There's no signs that there's speed bumps there. And why are there speed bumps only on the 100 block? Do they only speed on that short block of Vail? They speed throughout Vail. And that's been an issue for many years. They don't even stop at the stop sign. There could be lights flashing on the stop sign that will let them know to stop. Right now, people are freaking out down Vail. They're coming to a stop on Cleveland, and they're racing off to Whittier Boulevard only to come across the speed bumps. So they're screeching. So does that not cause an issue for the residents there? There's a school across the street. So there's a small portion of residents there. Thank you for your time.
Mayor, that does conclude all speaker cards for today.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk, and thank you to our speakers this evening. Ms. Salazar, do we have any staff communications on items of community interest?
No, Mayor, we do not.
Thank you. Mr. City Attorney, if you will lead us through the consent calendar.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council. At this time, the council will review and act on the consent calendar. All matters listed on the consent calendar are considered to be routine. Any items a member wishes to discuss, including any items the public submitted speaker cards for, should be designated at this time. All other items may be approved in a single motion. Such approval will also waive the reading of any ordinance. Item number 5 has been pulled from tonight's consent calendar. Mr. City Clerk, do we have any speaker cards for any of the items?
No, we do not.
Thank you. So I will poll the council. For tonight's meeting, we will start with Mayor Pro Tem Peralta, and we are talking items 6 through 11.
No items at this time?
Thank you. Councilmember Jimenez? No items. Councilmember Melendez?
No items.
Councilmember Tamayo?
No items.
And Mayor Torres?
Item number 10.
10. With that, it would be appropriate to entertain a motion to approve items 6, 7, 8, 9, and 11.
Is there a motion to approve?
I'll make the motion.
A motion by Councilmember Melendez. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Mayor Pro Tem Peralta. Mr. City Clerk, if you can please take roll.
Mayor Pro Tem Peralta,
Aye.
Councilmember Jimenez, Councilmember Melendez,
Aye.
Councilmember Tamayo,
Aye.
Mayor Torres.
Aye.
Those items pass. We'll move on to item number 10, which is the consideration of amending the fiscal year 2023-2024 Table of Organization Master Plan Position Control to add 18 firefighter paramedic full-time equivalent positions. And that was pulled by Mayor Torres.
Thank you very much, Mr. City Attorney. I would like to ask my colleagues that we continue this item. There are a couple questions that I think are still outstanding, a couple of concerns that need to be addressed, and I think staff has done a really good job of laying out the initial groundwork of what this would look like, but I do have to concede that I have concerns for the long-term viability of this plan. I do understand through past conversations in our study session in the previous meeting that the approach would be a phased approach. I do understand that there are, a lot of different considerations as we move down this path, and this is still very much in the initial stages of consideration. But I think that taking a more long-term view of a more long-term view of what these changes are going to entail for the city of Montebello as a whole is really important. And what I mean by that is that as we go through the agenda item and we see the anticipated fiscal impact, it's been estimated that for 18 of our fire to hire 18 new employees that would be manning our squads, that the cost would come in, I believe, just under $2 million. Just very quickly perusing the item as described in the agenda and comparing that to some of the information that's available on Transparent California, I think there, from my perspective, starts to be a little bit of I think the word would be like a disjuncture, or it's a little disjointed in terms of the figures that we're seeing and the implications. And so what I mean by that is not calling out anyone in particular. All of this information is public and available if the public would like to look it up. But for some of the firefighters that have been with our force for just 2 or 3 years, total pay and benefits is amounting to over $200,000 for many of them. So when we look at that significant cost and when we compare that to the item as presented in the agenda, it just starts to create certain questions. Some of the assumptions in the agenda as presented, presenting the numbers as, you know, what the salary would be for a first-year firefighter paramedic, I think is a great start, but what we're talking about here is really a transformational change about the way that we deliver medical services to our city, a transformational change in the way that our fire department runs its operations. And I think at this critical juncture, we have a very heavy responsibility of considering what the long-term impact of a move like this would be. So all of that being said, I would like to make a motion to continue this item, and I would ask that this be continued to the first meeting in September to allow for further information and conversation. So I'll make a motion to that effect.
I'll second.
There's a second by Councilmember Melendez. Mr. City Clerk, a roll call vote, please.
Mayor Pro Tem Peralta,
Aye.
Councilmember Jimenez, Councilmember Melendez,
Aye.
Councilmember Tamayo,
Aye.
Mayor Torres.
Aye, and thank you to my colleagues for that consideration.
And that, Mayor, concludes the consent agenda. It's appropriate to move on to AB 1234 travel reports.
Looking across the dais, do any members have AB 1234 travel reports? Mr. Melendez?
I do. I attended the ICA conference. I'm a representative of ICA as well. I serve on the board. It was a good conference. There were some good topics that I can share with all of you, and some new information that we can utilize here. So, yep, that concludes my report.
Are there any other travel reports? And I apologize, there was a little confusion in the language that was used as to item number 5. I understood it to be pulling completely off the agenda, not pulled for presentation. So I would like to invite our city treasurer, Mr. Matanga, to provide his presentation on the treasurer's report. Yes, please. So this would be item number 5, treasurer's report for the quarter ending June 30, 2023.
Okay. This moves a bit back and forth. Okay, let me just take a look here. Thank you for the opportunity. This is the fourth quarter report for 2022 to 23. Let me just move down. What we got here is a quarter report required by state law. The city, the City Council and Physical Accountability and Investment Committee receive monthly reports via the city manager. Provides overview of liquid cash position at the quarter ending. The investments guides by the City Council approved by investment policy. This is for the the June 30th, 2023. Here we go. We got here cash by major account type. You can see from the top, let's see if you can see that. Kind of hard for me, it's first time around here. If you look in the top, this is general. And you go to the right, you'll see June 30th, 2021. That's the money we had at that time. And if you go to the next column, June 30th, 22, then you see another amount of $78,705,924 million. And then we come to the more current June 2023, which is $439,663, and then there's a variance of $25,733,739. So it's a plus. The next section is successor agency. We have the same type of thing there. We had $13,524,868 in 2021, $19,405,616 in 2022, and then in June of this year, we have $17,615,874 with a variance of $1,790,741. On the next item is housing succession agency. It seems to be pretty flat. We had in 2021, 455,562. June 30th, 2022, 633,671. And then in June of this year, 1,269,432 with a variance of 635,760. Now, the next one is trust and agency. That's, I believe it's healthcare for retired employees. That is in June 2021. It's $1,300,657. June 2022, or $1,091,804, and then this current year, $1,091,798, with variance $6. Then the final one is the 401 trust accounts. That's for the non-safety employees. In 2021, it was $13,565,000. In June 2022, it's $13,564,000. In June of this year, it's $13,564,000, no variance, zero. Cash by a major account varies during the year based on revenue received via property tax, sales tax, and et cetera. Okay, effects of rate of return. As of June 30th, 2023, it's 1.41. As of June 30th, 2022, it's 1.18. Other useful common measurement metrics, 10-year Treasury bond at 3.93. The other is a 5-year Treasury bond at 4.16. And then we have a 2-year Treasury bond at 4.85. Okay, then we have the graphs here. Monthly balances of the general account from 2017 to 2023. Currently, we have $73 million, and that's the top item there. At the very top, it looks like it's green. It's flattened out there. Then we have the the year 2018, 2019, 2020, 21, 22, and 23, and various years. It's very hard to see that, but it gives a flow chart of how our incomes has increased, and we're doing pretty good there. Right now, the necessary and reasonable liquidity, we have sufficient liquidity to meet our demands for the next month. The city cash position remains strong and improving. And that concludes my report. And I submit it for your approval, and thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much, Mr. Treasurer. I will go down the roll call here for council. Any questions or comments on Mr. Matanga's report? Mayor Pro Tem Peralta?
No questions.
Councilmember Jimenez? Councilmember Melendez?
No questions, just thank you for that presentation.
Councilmember Tamayo?
Thank you for the report, Treasurer Matanga. No questions.
And just to reiterate my colleagues, Mr. Matanga, thank you so much for putting that together for us. With that, I will take a motion to receive and file the treasurer's report.
I'll make the motion to receive and file.
I'll second.
There's a motion by the Mayor Pro Tem and a second by Councilmember Melendez. Mr. City Clerk?
Mayor Pro Tem Peralta,
Aye.
Councilmember Jimenez. Aye. Councilmember Melendez.
Aye.
Councilmember Tamayo.
Aye.
Mayor Torres.
Aye. Mr. Matanga and Director Salorza, your report passes unanimously. Continuing with where we left off, and once again, I apologize for the misunderstanding there. We will move on to council agency orals. And Councilmember Jimenez, the floor is yours.
My first council oral is actually, this is the third time I bring it on here. But sometime last year and the year before, I brought up honoring Mr. Griffin, and I briefly spoke to Chief Pelaez about this in the past. And just for Suicide Prevention Day or Week, I would really like, and I know that I asked for council consensus back then, and I know you had some concerns, David, but again, I think it's important, being that mental health, and right now, since you highlighted Wellness Month, in this last conference that both Sal and I attended, ICA, mental health was the big topic there, and something that I feel we don't try to address enough, not just amongst council members, but also our city employees. So again, going back to Mr. Jerry Griffin, I would like to ask, I don't know, Arlene, maybe staff, since we had already talked about this before, for Suicide Prevention Day, which is actually in September, or during the week of, that we work with either the chief or any members in the fire department that worked closely with Mr. Griffin during the time he was here, and just to place an image of him, a picture of him, with just a reminder for people and men in any department to reach out for help if need be. And again, it doesn't only happen in fire department. I know that there was an incident that happened when some of us first got elected. However, I don't think that it was an employee, or it might have been someone that was in training. Regardless, it's a serious issue, and often, again, because of the privacy of these employees, we're not allowed to talk about certain things, but suicide while being, I believe Mr. Griffin committed suicide when he was working in our fire department. So again, I would like to ask for staff if we could move forward or move to start working on this, because I think it's important that while I have brought it up before, we haven't really focused or put any time and attention to it, but I want to make sure that this year which is for Suicide Prevention Week, for Suicide Prevention Day, that we finally get this done. I know it's August, and before we know it, it'll be September. So I don't know, Arlene, if how we have to follow up with this with Chief Elias or who we need to work on this with. Would you, I mean, because again, I had asked for consensus in the past to work on something, and again, I think it's important that we focus on, that we try to do this finally. I know that, again, in previous conversations that I had with the chief, we went back and forth, and he had some sort of the same idea to either place an image of Mr. Griffin just to honor his memory in every one of our fire departments.
If it's the will of council, gives us direction to staff to consider some kind of remembrance, that would be something that would get direction from other council.
So I would like to ask for council consensus so that we could move forward and again, remind every member in the fire department and police department as well, but also honoring Mr. Jerry Griffin's memory and his service to our city.
I'll open it to the floor for our colleagues for comment, starting with Mayor Pro Tem Peralta.
Yes, thank you for bringing this forward. I believe earlier in the year, council did give consensus to find a way to commemorate personnel who have tragically passed away due to suicide. I believe we did talk about an incident that happened in our fire department as well as our police department, and if there's any way that we can find a space here at City Hall to commemorate those individuals. I believe that that is something that council did support at the time, but happy to provide my vote for a commemoration of that sort.
Ms. Salazar, do you have record of the previous conversation and what the vote was there?
We'd have to look those votes up, Mayor.
Thank you. Councilmember Melendez, any comments?
I'd like to support Councilmember Jimenez's item, as well as I concur with the Mayor Pro Tem. And I think it's appropriate to move forward and commemorate those individuals, specifically to Jerry Griffin. So I support the item.
Councilmember Tamayo?
Yes, I would also support this. So this will be for the month of September.
I would like to do this during the month of September, but for it to remain just permanently, keep either their images and or their names up in these departments. But for it to be done during the month of, the week of Suicide Prevention Week.
I will provide my support for the month of September.
Thank you.
Mr. City Attorney, I don't believe we need a roll call vote, being that our colleagues have stated support. I believe staff has direction from the comments that have been given. Please proceed, Ms. Jimenez.
For my second item, so again, lately there have been a lot of, I think more than normal shootings or incidents in specific areas in the city. And as I get up and run every morning, I run into neighbors and have had these conversations with several of them and asking if it's just what they feel that it's in, particularly in the South Side, that these incidents are mostly happening. So I'm not sure, Chief Espinoza, if there's any way where, not right now, but if you could provide us with some sort of, I guess a list of, I want to call them hotspots, but it's just for any type of activity that we've seen in the past couple of months, or maybe like from the beginning of the year till now. I have, again, there in the South Side, we have the residents that live north of Washington that are very close to Reggie Park, and the residents that live south of Washington, close to Holyfield. And everyone seems to think that all this activity is taking place more in their area than it does in any other area of the city. So
And ma'am, you were asking specifically regarding shootings or violent crime in general?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, we can provide that, and maybe I'll try to break it down by district for the last couple of months, but let me see what we can do with our crime analysis detail.
Thank you.
Okay.
That's
And we'll
just
set it
to-
for one of the council meetings, maybe in the second one in September, if that's okay, or
Yes.
as soon as
Chief
we can.
Espinoza, just a moment
sir.
here. I believe the question is more based on capabilities, and my colleague is asking council for consensus whether or not to direct staff to provide that report. So it would be appropriate to go down the line and ask for consensus directing you to do so.
Yes, sir, I will wait for direction.
Thank you, Chief.
Mr. Mayor, if I may add to that
Absolutely.
list, if we can add theft. I know there's a lot of theft and burglary, whether it's in-home invasions or car thefts that I think all of Montebello has been facing and has become a very prominent concern for residents. So trying to understand that at a district level, I think is also important to then ensure that whatever policies or whatever resources we can put to address these issues in these hotspots, I think would be appropriate. So my request would be to just add that to that part of the list.
The Mayor Pro Tem has provided a friendly amendment to Ms. Jimenez's request for consensus. Going down the line, Mayor Pro Tem Peralta,
Aye.
Councilmember Melendez,
Aye.
Councilmember Tamayo,
Aye.
Councilmember Jimenez,
Aye.
and I vote aye as well. Chief, you have direction. Thank you very much. Please continue, Ms. Jimenez.
This was a question, I guess, for our city manager regarding this RFP. I'm not sure when did this go out, Arlene, or Ms. Salzar, for the golf course parcel?
I'm looking over at Director Palumbi. I believe it was sometime in January. At this time, we did receive 3 eligible proposals, and at this time, we have not proceeded with any kind of scoring of those.
Hold on, so the proposals were received in June, May, when? Oh, okay.
Yeah, usually the RFPs are on the street about 5 weeks, so I would say mid-February.
So where are we with that? I mean, what happened?
At this point, they're just suspended. They're still valid, but we have not proceeded with any of the ranking or scoring of those.
But why are they suspended? I mean, what happened?
At this point, they're just suspended, considering some further discussion by the council on what other direction the council wants us to take on the remnant pieces, whether that would be open space or continue with that process.
And how long can they be, I mean, suspended before they expire?
As far as we're concerned, indefinitely, because they're still valid. We haven't scored them, we haven't done anything with them.
Can we, I mean, what can we do then to bring this back, or what can we do to continue moving this forward? That's basically what I'm asking. Or Mr. Palumbi, I don't know, can you?
At this point, it would be at the direction of the mayor and council to give us consensus to move along the process.
Ms. Salazar and Ms. Jimenez, if I may jump in real quick. There are, as we're aware, a lot of competing priorities as to how we allocate our staff and our resources. So Ms. Jimenez, I believe the appropriate request would be from you to your colleagues, just asking it sounds like what you like to do is continue along with this process.
Yes, absolutely. Again, I wasn't sure what was happening with this because, again, if we're, I mean, moving into, considering that I know you've been working to bring PLAs, and this is very important for things like that in order for us, for us to get any of those things done. So if the proposals have already been submitted, I don't understand why nothing has been activated, or just why we're stalling. It's August. It's 6 months. So yes, I would like to ask for council consensus so that we could move forward and bring this back and start working on this, because, again, like, I think we've got a good flow of work and progress here in the city, so I don't understand, again, why this is being halted. Especially, we've already had, how many people submitted a proposal?
We have 3 submittals.
Okay.
I'll invite our colleagues for any questions or comments. Mayor Pro Tem Peralta?
Yes, just as a general comment, respectfully, I am not in support of bringing back any type of mixed use or housing specifically on the golf course property. I think as a council, we should be working on retaining the community's functionality to the golf course area. Our lower income communities of color are intentionally and historically deprived of open spaces. This is an opportunity that Montebello has through an inheritance that we received specifically for this property to continue its recreational use. I think it would be a disservice for our council to look into putting housing on this area. We have a lack of open spaces. We have so many clubs, whether it's baseball, whether it's soccer clubs, that literally cannot use our current fields because there's not enough space for them. We should be looking at how we can use the remaining acres that we have of the golf course to improve and add more amenities, such as soccer and baseball fields for our children, such as jogging and walking trails. We have spoken about a potential dog park in the area. Again, when we inherited this property, the family specifically put the prominence of ensuring that we keep this as a recreational space for our community. Once we develop housing or any type of high density on our current golf course campus, there's no going back and retaining that open space again. So I apologize, but that is something that at this time I cannot support in regards to bringing back the RFPs for mixed use or high density housing in that area.
Councilmember Melendez?
Yes, thank you. So with this, I have my analysis is we did invite some bids. We did have a process of possibly allowing to see what kind of projects could come in. I'm worried about the potential litigation that this can bring when we invite bids. We even for proposals. So when somebody submits a plan, there's a lot of money that goes into it. There's a lot of work. There's a lot of, they're expensive. They're not just, a couple of $1,000s. It's serious money, right? So we invited those companies to come in, submit those proposals, and then we just somehow suspended the process in this, right? I will say I do agree with the Mayor Pro Tem in allowing more green space. I think communities like ours should definitely have more green space and more opportunities for that. I do find it a little contradictory that, when we talk about recreational, we do allow a Topgolf facility, but then we don't allow housing, and, it's kind of like, it's a little bit contradictory. But overall, I do agree with the Mayor Pro Tem's points about green space and some of the other additional uses. But at the same time, what if these new projects that come in do allow for green space or do allow for other opportunities that maybe we haven't even seen yet? Because at least to my knowledge, I haven't been able to see any of these projects or these uses. And at the very least, I think democratically, and I think the service that we can do as elected officials and how we represent the community is to at least have a discussion, be able to see these projects, and if the community doesn't want them, if my colleagues don't want them, if staff doesn't recommend them, then then we don't move forward. But the very least that I feel that we can do is at least allow these bids and proposals to at least be heard. And because the community hasn't seen it either, right? We're just hearing of this, we don't know, but I'm just wary of the potential litigation and potential legal issues or consequences in not moving forward because we just decide not to, right? A lot of companies invested a lot of money, and there is that potential issue that we can see in the forward, right? So that's my only thought. So I would support Councilmember Jimenez's idea of at least bringing it forward. I think Mayor Torres, I think that's kind of where you were going with it. But I think just bringing it forward, have a discussion like we usually do, and just see if between discussion and dialogue, if that's something we agree or we don't agree. But just be very transparent about the process. Thank you.
Councilmember Tamayo?
One question. Are we talking about RFP or an RFQ? What was received?
Councilmember Tamayo is an RFP.
RFP, so proposals were received.
Yes, and this is, just for clarity, it's been a while, but this is not for the actual design. This would be for a master plan of this remnant piece. So there would be significant community input as far as, the type of design, the look, open space. So that's what that RFP was for in the short.
Okay, so the proposals included like conceptual plans of what that would look like?
I'm going to have Director Palombi, Councilmember Tamayo, come up, and he can just give a brief overview. He'll be better to answer those questions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the council. So the RFP, basically what it was asking for is conceptual sort of development diagram, if you will, just as it relates to what we call the opportunity site in our housing element, that it was certified by the state, but it didn't commit to any development. As it stands now, the zoning at the golf course is R1, so the entire golf course is zoned for single-family zoning. Obviously, that's not consistent with the uses that are there today. So really what we were looking to do is create a specific plan or a zone that provides for consistency with the uses that are there today, including the open space, as well as opportunities for future development. Whatever that looks like would be at the mercy of the council. So.
I think just because it's one of our last open spaces here for Montebello, that we really need to assess how we're going to move forward with this.
Thank you, Councilmember Tamayo. I'd like to reiterate the comment made by the Mayor Pro Tem that, when you lose open spaces, you don't get them back. And I'd also like to re-emphasize the point that Black and brown communities, especially around the Los Angeles area, have a dearth in public and open spaces. Montebello had the great fortune several decades ago of being gifted this property with the express intent that it be used for recreation. And I think with the introduction of Topgolf and this council's ability to kind of reimagine what the remaining parcel would look like, we have a unique opportunity to deliver on this promise of open space and recreation for the community at large. A property that has for decades been the has been exclusively enjoyed by a class that is able to, have a round of 18 holes at 10 o'clock in the afternoon on a Tuesday, that can afford a set of golf clubs, that has been able to, kind of participate in what is a very technical game, has really found a much more limited audience. And as we talk about the democratization of golf on the Topgolf campus, in terms of being able to introduce the sport to a much wider range and take away some of those barriers to cost, I think on the other hand, on the other part of this parcel, we also have the opportunity to open up this property to the community at large and to all of our neighbors to enjoy. We approved the Park Master Plan, I believe, about a year and a half ago, summer of 2021. And in that plan, it talks about all of the deficiencies that we have in Montebello when it comes to our park space, whether they be soccer fields, baseball fields, or just open space in general. It did identify some places around the city where we could start to realize and bring back these spaces, things like linear parks along Edison rights-of-way, things like the Rio Hondo riverbed and the channels there, and even, I think, the protected habitats of the California gnatcatcher to some extent or another can be lightly developed to allow for things like hiking, right? We're not talking about really intense uses, but very light uses like you might see in a national or state park. Though realizing those spaces as open spaces are far and long into the future. They require extensive negotiations. They require extensive approvals and permits, significant dedication of resources and planning, and just a whole host of issues. I think with the opportunity that we're presented here at the golf course, we have a very concrete way of quickly delivering on increasing the open space. And if my numbers are correct, Director Palombi and Director Sosnowski, I believe Montebello currently has 125 acres of park space currently, and the golf course, the entire campus is about 120 acres. So by taking essentially half of that and adding it to the 60 acres that's left over and adding that to our 125, we can almost instantly increase our park space by 50% by the simple political will of trying to realize this as open space for our community. I do want to be cautious, though, moving down this path, because that parcel was identified in our housing element as one of the ways that we were going to reach our arena numbers. We went through a public process. We did identify this as an opportunity site for, I believe, 300 units. So I want to be sensitive to any move to change that plan, that we make sure that we stay in compliance with the state and that we don't run afoul of Governor Newsom, who has created a task force specifically for cities that aren't delivering on their promises of delivering housing. But I do want to add that in our more recent conversations surrounding the bankruptcy of Beverly Hospital and the opportunities of those parcels surrounding there, that land was not contemplated in the housing element as an opportunity to build. And I believe that with the resources at the hospital and the medical offices adjacent, realizing a campus where residents can have quick access to healthcare, where you have the opportunity for commercial shopping at the Montebello Mart right down Beverly, and in addition, Beverly Boulevard being a major corridor for public transportation, that seems like perhaps like a fair swap to kind of reimagine how housing might fit on that parcel if we were to move down the line of not building at the Montebello Golf Course. So I would join with those colleagues in kind of taking a step back from the RFP as it was issued, and perhaps we can, with staff, reopen the dialogue with council and kind of talk about some of these issues, what that means for the housing element, I think would be the first thing to understand, because we don't want to take any actions that would automatically put us in any kind of peril with the state. But then beyond that, reassessing where housing might otherwise be placed, and perhaps reissuing the RFP, identifying the Montebello Golf Course as park space. So, Ms. Jimenez, I would make an amendment to your request that directing staff first to do some research into what it would take to change the housing element, or what kind of requirements are set by the state, and then perhaps from there we can kind of figure out and understand after we get that settled.
Mr. Mayor, if I could just clarify, so the request to staff or the direction to staff would be to contact the HCD to determine how we would amend our existing housing element to consider the Beverly Hospital remnant parcels?
Mr. Palumbi,
In
you
lieu
have
of-
additional comment? I'm sorry, Ms. Salazar.
If I may, there would be no need to contact HCD. We utilize the opportunity sites to achieve compliance. It doesn't commit us, if you will, to actually, as long as we are doing our part in meeting our arena numbers, that's what the state's concerned with. So I don't think there would be a need for us to report to HCD that we're going to change the opportunity sites that are already listed. It's just a matter of implementing a plan that would supplement those units, I think that would suffice. So just wanted to clarify that.
Thank you, Mr. Palumbi. And thank you, Ms. Salazar. In that instance, then, if there is no concern with the state, I would ask my colleagues that perhaps we rescind the RFP and reissue with the intent of developing the space as a park space in whole. And just very quickly to comment, Mr. Melendez, I understand your concern with any kind of legal liability that we may face with those that have responded to the RFP. But as I've seen in other developments, I mean, they've gone all the way to almost like breaking ground, like ready to break ground in a week, and having extensive renderings and plans and agreements in place. And when it falls out, there's really no kind of recourse. So I think kind of, although the submitters, did make that effort to respond to the RFP, I think we're very safe at this point. Mr. City Attorney, unless your opinion is otherwise in rescinding the RFP, I don't believe we'd be in any kind of legal liability. So that would be, my motion would be to rescind and reissue the RFP, imagining the space as a park space in whole. Mr. City Clerk.
Mayor Pro Tem Peralta,
Aye.
Councilmember Jimenez,
No.
Councilmember Melendez,
I'll abstain from this.
Councilmember Tamayo,
Aye.
Mayor Torres.
Aye. And Ms. Salazar, staff has direction. Thank you
Thank
very
you,
much. Thank you very much to my colleagues. And I believe that concludes this evening's agenda. I would like to close, and I would like to adjourn this evening's meeting in the memory of Frank O'Farrell. Frank O'Farrell was a member of our Montebello Fire Department for 35 years. He graduated in 1973 from Schur High School and passed too soon. So if we can please observe a moment of silence for Frank O'Farrell, a longtime dedicated and loyal member of our Montebello Fire Department. Thank you very much. And this meeting is adjourned at, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
I'll motion.
A motion by the Mayor Pro Tem. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilmember Melendez. The meeting is adjourned at 8:51.